Hi everyone, very happy to be here today. My name is Becky. I played with Team Canada from 1998 until 2010 and had the opportunity to win 3 gold medals with Canada, which was an amazing, thank you very much. And it was obviously an amazing experience for me. And some of that experience really started for me when I was playing at Brown University. And so I know that there's a lot of schools here today and there's a lot of opportunity for all of you to look at. So I'll just give you one tip. Brown's the best. So Notre Dame's okay too, right Dave? Notre Dame's okay. But for me, I grew up with a real passion for hockey and a passion for a sport at a time that I really wasn't supposed to like. Girls really weren't supposed to play hockey when I was growing up. But I had this passion for the sport and parents that encouraged it, so I was very fortunate. My dad used to take me to games, and I was at the 1987 Canada Cup, which some of the adults in the room would remember, when Canada beat the Soviet Union 6-5 at Copps Coliseum in Hamilton. And that moment, watching that game, really inspired something inside of me. I wanted to play, I wanted to wear that jersey. And it took 3 more years for me to actually put that goal out there. And I was watching the first ever Women's World Hockey Championships again with my dad, this time in our living room, watching the women play at the first ever World Championships, when I finally said, that's what I want. And so I had this clear goal in my mind, something that I wanted to do, but I never actually had a clear path or direction to get there. The goal was there and it was concrete, but the journey I would take, I wasn't sure where that would lead. And so the NCAA isn't something that I had actually given thought to when I was first preparing to meet this goal. I had thought about going to school in Canada. I had met at one point the University of Toronto's head coach, and so I had different ideas, but really I was taking it one day at a time, until I was at a hockey camp the summer before my last year of high school, and the coaches for Brown, Princeton, and Cornell were there, and so it sort of opened my eyes to a whole different set of possibilities. And so when the fall came, my parents and I got in the car and we drove to Brown and Princeton for a recruiting trip. And I can't emphasize how important that was, to actually step foot on those campuses, to take a couple days at each school, to meet the coach, not just talk to her on the phone, but to meet the coach, to be in the arena, to see the dressing room, to meet my teammates, to have lunch at the cafeteria and to go to a class and really experience what it was like to be a student at that school. And I did that at both Brown and Princeton, got in the car to drive home, and I remember my dad saying to me very simply, "So, right, what do you think?" And I said, "It's Brown." Right? That's all it took. It was those 2 days, and both programs were excellent, both schools were excellent, but I found that there was a fit at Brown, and really it took being on that campus to know that. And it still wasn't an easy decision to make that decision to go there. At the time when I was coming through, most of the elite female hockey players in my age group were opting to stay in Canada because they felt that's what gave them the best chance to make Team Canada. So for me to do something different was pretty difficult. And training for the Olympics, we had a sports psychologist that worked with our team, and he worked with us quite a bit going into the 2010 games. And the one afternoon, we were in a grueling training schedule, and we were doing a lot more than any other country in the world at the time. And so we were questioning what we were doing when he presented a slide on a board for us in a session with him that said, "Winning is abnormal." And I remember looking at it, and he finally spoke to it, and he said, "How many teams will win at the end of the season?" Which is a pretty simple question. We said 1. He said, "How many teams will lose?" I said, "Well, everybody else, depending on how big the field is." He said, "If one person were to stand up in this room and do something differently than everyone else, act in a way that was different than everyone else, we would say they're not normal." So he said, by definition, winning is not normal. If you want to achieve abnormal results, you need to behave abnormally every day. And so I think looking back at my experience and my choice of going to Brown, that's exactly what it was. For me, I thought that that gave me the best opportunity for success. And there's no guarantees for success in our future. The only thing we can do is give ourselves that opportunity. And that was a lot of our focus going into the Olympics as well, is what do we have to do? How do we prepare ourselves to have the best opportunity for success? So I made the decision to be different, to go to school in the States, to be on the ice every day and give myself that opportunity. But of course, there are no guarantees. So I was going to go there, not knowing if I would ever make Team Canada, so I wanted to make the most of that opportunity. And you're standing here today at 16 or 17 or 18 years old thinking that 4 years of university is a long time, and it's not. It's a small portion of your life, but it can have such a huge impact. So for me going into Brown, I decided I'm going to experience everything. So I decided to try out for the softball team. I wanted to walk on and play 2 sports. I had 4 unbelievable years as a softball athlete as well. I got a part-time job at food services working in the bake shop with a whole different set of people and formed relationships with people that maybe I wouldn't have had I just gone in and been a hockey player and a student. I went into the concurrent ed program, had a chance to do my student teaching at a private elementary school in Providence, and again, took all of those experiences, and that really created the journey for me. And so I was successful in making Team Canada, but everything that I got out of Brown, I think has led me to different parts of my life and different successes in different areas of my life. So if I can give you any advice, it would be to explore every option, every potential option that there is out there. Find the pick that is best for you, what fits you best, and then take advantage of it. And I'll leave you with one last quick story. My first Olympics ever was 1998. And before we walked into the opening ceremonies, which was a huge part of the experience for me, something I had always watched on TV, our team leader stood to the podium to speak to us. And he's called a chef de mission. He was dressed from head to toe in the same outfit as us, right? All the Canada apparel, hat, mitts, you name it. He had it on, but he was about 60 years old. And most of us in the crowd, the athletes, were 20 or 30. And he stood before us and he said, you know, my whole life, all I ever wanted was to go to the Olympics. But he said the problem was I tried every sport, summer, winter, you name it, I tried it. But I just wasn't good enough at anything. But he said, look at me now. I did it. I'm here. I'll lead you into the opening ceremonies. Right? This is a man that had a dream, he had a goal, and he explored every path until he got there. So take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there. Thank you for coming today, and have a great day.